The Idries Shah Foundation podcast. Practical psychology for today. Featuring the works of Idries Shah, narrated by David Ault. Welcome to the Idries Shah Foundation podcast. This edition of the podcast is the second in our Cultural Crossroads series. During his lifetime, Idries Shah promoted contacts and connections between different traditions around the world, believing this to be an important element in the advancement of human culture. In this spirit, the Idries Shah Foundation has created Cultural Crossroads, a website forum where people from many walks of life are invited to talk about their own experiences crossing cultural boundaries and the lessons that they have learnt as a result. You can find these articles on the ISF blog. On the 25th of May 2001, Erik Weihenmayer became the first blind person to reach the summit of Mount Everest. In 2008, he climbed Carstensz Pyramid on the island of Papua New Guinea, completing the 7 summits, the highest point on every continent. This accomplishment closed the circuit on a 13-year journey that had begun with the 1995 ascent of Denali. He is joined by a select company of only 150 mountaineers to have accomplished the feat.
We often hear other senses compensate to some extent when you are blind. From your experience of extreme situations, what do sighted people miss?
Well, my view is different from a sighted person's. I still get scenery. It's just different. It's not the big sweeping visual view from the summit. I get a more close-up view. I get to touch the rock. I get to touch the ice, which is sculpted in beautiful ways. Sometimes, like trunks of trees or like the panes of glass. Sometimes even like crazy, like animal shapes and so forth. I get to feel the crunch of the snow and that feeling of movement, which I think is a kind of a sense, the power of your body, rhythmically moving up the mountain, swinging your ice tool. So I do get scenery. Even the sun on my face, the wind, and up high, when you're high up on a mountain, or really anywhere, a blind person uses what's called echolocation, which is using sound vibrations. Those sound vibrations bounce off of objects and come back at you, sort of like what a bat does, but humans can do it as well, not as well as a bat, but you get information from your environment. So you can hear rocks, you can hear trees, you can hear space. And when you're high up on a mountain, those sound vibrations move out infinitely through space, and it's a very beautiful, awe-inspiring, kind of vast, infinite sound.
It's a very poetic answer. I like it.
Thank you. I'm a poet at heart, Pauline.
Exactly. Number 2, your climbs to the highest mountains must have taken you to the limit of endurance. Do you have a mantra or saying that helps you when the going gets tough?
I do have kind of a mindset. The Sherpas on Everest, they have a very cool quote, and they say, the nature of mind is like water. If you do not disturb it, it will become clear. And so I do think about that because it's very easy on a mountain or on a river when you're kayaking or just in life to get so distracted. I tend to do this where lots of baggage gets into your brain, distraction, worries, doubt, fear, negativity. And those things are like muddy water that weigh you down and make the sort of way you go forward seem very murky, like you're actually trying to push through that mud. So the idea is trying to keep your mind still, like clear water coming down a mountain stream. And it takes some discipline to do that. It takes a lot of preparation to do that. So if you just went to Everest without any preparation, it'd be impossible to keep your mind still. But with all the preparation and with the team, all the systems and strategies and tools that I built up, all the ways that I've learned to be comfortable in the mountains, that's how you eventually translate all that baggage and kind of expand that space of awareness in your brain so that you're really that awareness, that sense of immediacy, it sort of can expand and occupy more space than all that other baggage. And so, yeah, I do think about that and trying to do that in life and on mountains.
That's awesome. What do you tell your son about travel and adventure and its place in life?
Well, my son his name is Arjun. He's from Nepal. We adopted him when he was a little boy. He was about 5. And so he kind of knows the world. When he first came to America, he flew across the ocean, and he looked at that little screen of the plane, like a little blip going across the globe. And I think when he arrived in Colorado, it was so different for him that he thought he was on another planet. Because one time he was looking at this book, and he pointed to Earth, and he said, "That's Colorado." And he pointed to another planet and said, "That's Nepal." And I said, "No, you're in the same planet. You just came across an ocean." And so he has probably that sense of travel and adventure already built into him. Now that he's in America, I think he's an incredible kid. He plays sports. He's very busy. He does great in school. And he does have a sense of adventure. We've gone back to Nepal. We trekked across the Mustang, which is in western Nepal. They call it the Trans-Himalaya because it's on the Tibetan side, and it's one of the deepest gorges in the world that you trek through and ride horses through and see this incredible trading route that Nepalis and Tibetans and Chinese have been using for thousands of years. So he has a real sense of adventure. We've traveled all over the world, and he likes travel. I think one of the fears of a parent, though, is social media and video games, because whether kids admit this or not, because they can get so much at their fingertips from their computers, I think it kills a little bit the desire to go and travel and learn and struggle and fail and bleed. You know, why would you go and do all that massive effort when you can just experience comfort and excitement and stimulation from your fingertips? So I think social media and technology is a double-edged sword. And so as a parent, we try to say, hey, technology is wonderful, but real life is also wonderful. And you have to have that balance.
Yeah, so true. Man, that Nepal and Earth story is just wild.
Yeah.
How do you find people in less developed countries react to your achievements?
Well, I think in a way I've been fortunate to be able to travel all around the world to all the 7 continents, climbing the tallest peaks in every continent. And I have been to places like Russia, where I was giving a talk and I was talking about all these amazing people with challenges, with disabilities, doing big things. And they said, wow, this is shocking to us because we don't see people with disabilities. They don't really come out, and they aren't part of the fabric of society. It's a shocking idea to us. All the way to, Irian Jaya or West Papua, which is part of Indonesia, trekking through the mountains there, and the Yali people that watched me trek. And at the end of that journey, they brought me into a hut, and the tribal leader, clad in bird feathers and penis gourds, sat us down, and we drank some kind of fluid out of one of their gourds, and he translated this message, blind people in our villages, they stay in the huts, and they might learn to weave or something, but you coming here and doing this, it shows us that maybe there's more possibility in our culture. And I think that's really cool, to be able to take people's idea of what's possible and probable and sort of break it up and shatter it into a million pieces, so that folks have to then go through the struggle of rebuilding their perceptions. And I think it opens doors in the world. It makes people more tolerant.
and it makes them more hopeful and excited about their own possibilities.
This podcast is copyright 2018, the Idries Shah Foundation. This audio is made available by the Idries Shah Foundation.